Welcome to the Parsha Perspective. Each week, we will delve deep in a weekly Torah portion to find a practical and insightful way to enhance your daily life. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Rabbi Shalom Yamini, and each week we will look into the weekly Torah portion to find practical and insightful ways to enhance your daily life. This week's Parsha Perspective is in honor of our homeland, Eretz Yisroel. May Kadosh Baruch Hu, may God protect our brave soldiers, and may God return all the hostages from Gaza immediately. This week's Parsha Perspective is in loving memory of Edward Ben Efraim, Shlomo Ben Edward, and Yirachmiel Daniel Ben Gedalia. May their souls be uplifted, and may their memories be a blessing. This week is a double Torah portion, Parshas Nitzavim Vayelech, leadership and guidance. Our Torah portions are always read before Rosh Hashanah, for they contain some of the most fundamental principles in all of Judaism. We begin with Moshe Rabbeinu gathering the people he led out of Egypt one final time. He emphasizes that we are all identical. We are all equal in the eyes of God, our Heavenly Father. He reiterates that the covenant that the bris made with our forefathers, declaring that we are God's chosen people, is for eternity and remains true till this very day. He says, I make this covenant and its sanctions and its curses not with you alone, but rather with everybody. But with those who are standing here today before God, and with those who are not standing here before God. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu calls the heaven and earth as witnesses as he pleads with the nation to choose God, to choose Torah, and to live a blessed life. I call the heaven and earth as witnesses, said Moshe Rabbeinu, that I have set before you life and death, the blessings and the curses. Therefore you shall choose life, so you and your children may live. However, a question comes to mind. After Moshe Rabbeinu urges the nation to stand firm, to follow in God's path, he calls his student, he calls his successor Yeshua ben Nun to the forefront. And he tells him, Chazak ve'ematz, be strong, be resolute, ki atay tavay sa'am hazeh el haaretz, because you will go with this nation into the land. But when Moshe later recounts what was said to Yeshua ben Nun, he states, Chazak ve'ematz, be strong, be resolute, ki ata tavi es ha-bnei Yisroel el haaretz. Be strong and resolute, because you will bring and you will lead this nation, this Jewish people, into the promised land. Why the change in language? First, Moshe says he will go with the nation, and then he says that Yeshua will bring them into the land. What is the reason behind the change from going with to bringing the nation into the promised land? Rashi, Rav Shlomo Yitzchaki, the leading Torah commentary, gives a simple explanation. He writes that the second time that Moshe Rabbeinu spoke, he was recounting what God had told Yeshua ben Nun about his role as the leader of the Jewish people and what his responsibilities would be. He would lead them in battle, conquer Israel, and then portion the land to the tribes and help them settle in the land of Israel in the promised land. According to Rashi, when Moshe initially called Yeshua before the nation, he told him he would go into the land with the people standing before him. However, when Moshe is recounting God's words to Yeshua, he uses the phrase, you will bring the Jewish people into the land, and the difference emphasizes and highlights that when Moshe spoke, he was emphasizing Yeshua's partnership with the people, while God's words were focusing on Yeshua's role in leading them to receive their inheritance. However, the Orach HaMakadesh, Rav Chaim Ben Attar, a Moroccan commentary and Kabbalist, gives a more profound explanation. He writes that Moshe did not tell Yeshua ben Nun that he would lead them into the land, for God did the fighting for the Jewish people. Moshe Rabbeinu says in the next pasuk, Hashem hu ha'hoylech lefanecha, it is God who will go before you. And this shows that God himself would lead the way, while Yeshua ben Nun would guide the people as they followed. According to the Orach Chaim, God himself spoke to Yeshua ben Nun before Moshe Rabbeinu to clarify Moshe's understanding of Yeshua's leadership. Yes, God would be with them at every step of the way, fighting their battles, securing the land on their behalf. However, Yeshua's guidance would be key, would be essential and fundamental to making this dream a reality. Without Yeshua's leadership, The Jewish people would not be able to take possession and settle into the land promised to them by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, promised to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov that their descendants would inherit the land of Israel. His role was not merely a formality, but a key element in fulfilling God's plan. Just as Moshe's leadership carried the nation from slavery to freedom, from hardship to receiving the Torah, so too would Yeshua complete the mission that Moshe began and bring the nation to the promised land. While Moshe led them to the threshold, Yeshua ben Nun would lead them across. His task was not simply to follow Moshe's path, but to fulfill the final stage of the journey and bring the Jewish nation to their homeland, to the land of Israel. This profound lesson by the Aruch HaMakadosh is ever more relevant as Jews worldwide join those already reciting Slichas, the communal prayer of atonement, beginning this Motzei Shabbos. The days leading up to our day of judgment, to Rosh Hashanah, can be overwhelming, and our emotions may run high as we reflect on the events of this past year. So much pain, so much suffering has afflicted our brothers and sisters in Israel and across the globe. Yet we must remain focused on what's within our control, our actions, our behavior, and the changes we can make. The rest we must entrust to God, placing our faith in Him to bring an end to this pain and reveal the redemption we so desperately need. In our daily life, it is imperative to realize that we cannot afford to be weighed down by what others think of us, as we have no control over their thoughts, words, or actions. Instead, we must focus on the changes we can make within ourselves to improve, to grow, to make progress towards our goals. And by directing our energy, our spirit towards what we can influence, we take meaningful steps, turning our potential into a reality. I will conclude with a pasuk from this week's Parsha. Hanistarais laHashem Elokeinu, v'hanigla'os lanu uvanenu ad olam lasais es kol divrei haTorah hazos. Moshe Rabbeinu says that the hidden acts concern God and God alone, but the revealed actions is for us and our children to apply and to make the Torah a reality. Having meaningful Shabbos and an inspiring week leading to Rosh Hashanah. Thank you for tuning in to the Parsha Perspective. Check out our website, theparshaperspective.com. Send thoughts and comments to theparshaperspective@gmail.com. Till next time, thanks for listening.